Hello everybody, Frankie Day here. Okay guys, this is another video right now. I'm going to start working on my BF2C and get a video of that. And just got back from sick bay. My wife will be out any time now. And she's doing real well. She told me to thank every one of you fellas out there, you know, and she's grateful, and so am I. Okay guys, introduction to tonight's video is going to be another lost but found, back to the stash pile. Fellas, I gotta start going down there and spend some more time down my basement and start going to these boxes. But every time I open the box, it just gets better all the time. And believe you me, this thing really brings back memories to me. Okay fellas, the introduction of the kit that was lost but found. And before we get to the inbox review and the kit itself, I'll flash real quick here. We'll make a inbox review of it. This is a 1961 monogram first release of the F3-F Flying Beer Barrel. Now fellas, the F3-F, the Grumman F3-F came out with, they were the first ones that developed the retractable landing gear that actually retracted the side of the fuselage on biplane fighters of that era. Curtis had them too, and they actually got the same idea from Donald Grumman. And so back in the 1930s, folks, the romantic of the bygone age of aviation was the mighty biplane. And biplanes were very highly respected, highly honored, and they were very beautiful for their time. And the Navy saw a lot of interest in biplanes because that's all there was back in those days. There was a lot of monoplanes being designed, which were their successors in the event of war, and of course before the war. Anyway, folks, this here is the F3-F is the final series of the F3-F family. They started out the F3-F1. And the 2 and the 3, and each one of them had different features on it. And the 1 and the 2 models had the cowlings weren't well pronounced. They were tapered, and they had tappet blisters on the outside, and they had a 2-bladed Hamilton standard prop. Then the F3-F2 came in. They came in with the 3-inch with a 3-bladed prop, and also had the tappet blisters on the cowling. Then when the F3-F Series 3 came out, it had the regular cowling with no tappet blisters on there and the 3-bladed Hamilton standard prop. It had an airspeed of 268 miles an hour, which was quite fast at that time. And during the event of war, they were superseded by that speed. Okay guys, this aircraft right here was introduced into the United States Navy in 1935, and it saw its way through to 1940. Then we knew that war was imminent, and these aircraft are actually obsolete. They will be stricken from the Naval Register as fast as possible. The F4F Wildcat came out, the TBDs came out, the B233s came out, the SBDs came out. All these mono wing aircraft came out, and actually the biplane series went out with the Dodo. And this kit right here, I got 1961. 21 years old when I got this kit, and I think I bought it at Sprouts and Ritz, and the retails for $1.98. See, back in those days, folks, a lot of us old timers remember these things. A lot of you young fellows out there don't. All kits back in those days had a price, and that was it. It didn't go up or no down. Just give you a little prime example. I'll bring this F3-F over here and show it to you. Right here, folks, is the price. It says $1.98 right here. That is the price of these models back in those days. Any model you picked up, Aurora, Comet, Monogram, Revell, Lindbergh, ITC, Ringo, Stormbecker, it don't matter. They all had a price on there. But back in the 1970s, they got away with that. They don't do it no more. And of course, the price of models were actually were fluctuating. And so they're, especially nowadays, they fluctuate quite much. And there's no control of them. And they get expensive all the time. Okay, fellas, right here is the F3-F3, and we'll zoom over and discuss the inbox review of the kit, and we'll finish up the video. And I got to get started on the BF2C Helldiver. Okay, fellas, I know this camera's very friendly because it's pretty friendly for the last few videos, so it'll be just as friendly as here. Okay, guys, here she is, boys, right here. I'll give you a little zoom job here. As I'm moving the box, I remember I put paper in it. Kinds of the tissue and everything. They're neatly packed. A lot of these parts are loose because this thing's been shipped in a box for a long time. And it's been kept in the box a long time. Now guys, these were actually pure gimmick models for their time. These were the most popular models that was ever produced in the plastic model industry. When Monogram came out with the Grumman F3-F, and it came out with this here. Now this hair right here is molded, it's molded in color, as you can see. It was intended for no one to paint it. The only painting that was done on this thing was just paint the wing walks and paint the tires. You're done. Even the cowling is red. The stabilizers are red, which fit here. Even they're red. And top of the wing was chrome yellow. This is a very beautiful kit. I've had this for years, fellas. Just got out of the box. I checked down below, so I couldn't believe I had this thing all. This stuff down there, folks, I don't know what I got. The decals are just as pristine as the day I got this thing. Of course, this is a typical 1960s monogram decals. They're very, very heavy, very, very thick. And if I'm going to build this kit, I may just go ahead and put new stars and bars, replace it, go ahead and match my fuselage and make the band on here. Even comes with the rigging thread too. This thing rigs up and everything. The landing gear folds and retracts. The most amazing feature of this airplane, folks, is the retracting landing gear. You take the fuselage, take the prop, and you spin it, and the wheels will retract and extend, just as that of the real airplane. And that took a lot of engineering back in those days to do something like that. And like I say, this is a lot as pure gimmick. I built about 2 in my lifetime, and the landing gear holds up quite well, but the first thing it breaks on is the propeller shaft, because you got to take a propeller shaft, you got to gauge it away from the gears so it can turn freely. If you keep it locked on the gears, sometimes I have to spin a prop to do that. You bust that gear off there, and the landing gear has to be retracted manually by the side gears of the fuselage. So this thing is composed of 92 parts. A lot of parts are loose in there, folks. It's been in the box a long time. It's been shaking around during moves. The transit moves, and moving from one location to another, and that's exactly why all these builds end up in boxes, because I had to move. And I'm getting old now, you know, and a lot of it's turning out of sight, out of mind. And I like to venture down there and open up my time capsule and come out with stuff like this. Anyway, folks, the instructions are very good instructions. Back in those days, they really gave it their all. You know, the instructions were, the treatment of the instructions were engineered even for the novice to put it together without no sweat, because it's all literate. It's all literate. Right here on this side here, folks, is an exploded view of all the parts of this here kit. It has the assembly of the landing gear here, and here's the exploded assembly of it. There's a lot of parts, folks, to make this thing work well. And everything, as you can see, is actual pictorial views here of all the pictures here and the steps and everything. It shows you how it goes together. And you flip it in the back. You got the assembly of the rest of it here is the excuse me, folks. And you can see right here, up here, how the fuselage goes together. You got to make sure the gears are engaged. And we get done, you just decal it up as you go together on it, folks. And there's the finished fuselage right there. No paint. No paint at all. This thing is molded in color. The only paint that's needed in this thing is you got to paint the tires, and that's it. This model was designed for not to use no paint at all. It don't need to be painted. It's so pretty. And also, it's designed for somebody who doesn't have any paints. Put it together, and it's completed. It even has rigging steps here, folks, how the rigging goes on here, as you can see. It just goes on and on, folks. This thing is a very impressive kit. And when it's all done, right here in the back, shows painting your model, and it tells you you shouldn't have to, though, but a lot of models feel they want to, they can do so. But why? But nowadays, paint it. And it tells you how to operate the landing gear. As you can see how you pull it out, you rotate the prop, how it retracts inside the fuselage, it comes right down again. Pure gimmick. And gimmick models back in the days were among very, very popular. And that's part of my early youth I grew up with. And here's my little time capsule, fellas. I try to take care of everything I have in life, because, if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. Same thing, taking care of business. And this kit here is the blessing. I still got this kit all these years. I had this one out on the shelf one time, plenty of times, and started to build it. I said not to, decided not to, so I went ahead and laid it on top of the shelf and started looking at it and threw it back in the box. That was before I moved, and so it's been in the box a long time. It's been in the box probably since 1962, 63, sometime around there. And my attempt was to go ahead and build it, but I didn't do so. Okay, guys, I think it's camera right over here to me right now. I think I pulled the airplane away too quick. And we'll zoom out here, fellas. Anyway, fellas, that completes the another lost but found back in the stash pile. That's the famous MONOGRAM F3-F1, F3-F3 Grumman fighter, also known as the Flying Beer Barrel. And they're very remarkable little airplanes for their day, and a significant part of history about those things is the retracting of the landing gear, because you got a crank. It's about 4 inches. It's red. And you got 2 locking pins in there. And each one, and when you crank that landing gear, it takes 29 times. You're cranking that gear up, and the gear is going up this way. As it extends the fuselage, you can peer through. Underneath the dial console, and you can look down there. There's an inspection glass right behind the wheel where the wheel's at. When that light is out, that wheel is extracted. You take your pin next to your crank, you push that pin in, and that locks. That keeps that wheel from coming down. Because you got to realize is when you extend that landing gear, you got to disengage that locking pin. You're going to take that handle and counterclockwise with the cranking, bringing the gear down. If you let that handle get away from you, gravity will allow that landing gear to come down quick. So sometimes they'll snap over there by the oleo where it retracts inside the wells. Then your world will hurt, and then you got a ditch. So that's a little significant part of history. There's been a lot of problems with that, and so they got away from that during the 1940s, started using hydraulics for landing gear instead. So that's just the old-fashioned retractor system. It's pretty well stationary used in flying boats and a lot of aircraft. It's a simple method of retracting your landing gear. But when hydraulic system came out, it kind of changed everything. Okay, folks, I'm going to get hot in my Grumman BF, my Curtis BF2C Helldiver for Clint's the Mad Modeler's Go Big Go Home group build. My second entry. I'm going to get started on that. I got to put my dam buster away, and I don't want it to get busted, so it goes right back into the box where it can stay there for eternity. And so anyway, folks, we got a lot of builds coming up. Warren's got some good builds coming up. I got shout out to Warren and everybody out there. And so we got a Buddy Typhoon coming in. and also more one group build coming in, and so there's going to be a lot of great group builds coming up this year, folks, and everybody's pretty well pleased what's going on. So the year's young, and so are we, and we will continue our group builds and then some. Okay, folks, this is Frankie Day signing off. And may Godspeed, God bless you guys, and we'll catch you all next video. I should have another video tomorrow on my Grumman BF2C, so I'm pretty much on schedule. I was thinking about having it on Wednesday anyway, so I got to work on tonight. Going to the hospital back and forth, folks, kind of took me away from the model bench, but I got to get it done tonight. Okay, boys, I'm taking off now. This is Frankie Day signing off, and catch you next video. Bye, fellas.